Again, we've got James Adams, Brian Parks here at the table. Semi-final round of the U.S. Amateur Championship.
We're here at Strokers, baby.
Love Strokers.
Palm Harbor, Florida. Palm Harbor, Florida.
Looks like James wins the lag.
You're going to start with 8-ball.
I didn't catch if James said he was taking the break or if he was opting to play 8-ball first. Of course, one of the unique things about the U.S. Amateur Championship format, in addition to being a race to 7, it's a combination of 8-ball and 9-ball, 5 games of 8-ball, up to 8 games of 9-ball, and the person that wins the lag either opts to take the break or to choose the format in which they start in. So it appears, based on what we're seeing, that James chose to take the break. Brian chose to start in the 8-ball set. Again, we'll see 5 games of 8-ball before they move over into 9-ball.
Okay. I've been talking to Brian here about his 8-ball break. And, James is going to take the break.
Yeah, James took the break. Brian
Okay.
Brian wants to play 8-ball first.
I'll be curious to see how Brian breaks on the TV table here when he does get the break.
Of course, a lot of folks know Brian. He's a 3-time U.S. Amateur champion. Most recently in... Boy, he's got so many...
Sure does.
He's got so much on his resume. 2013, last time Brian won this event. Of course, James Adams is somebody we know from the pool player championships, national singles championships. Was our champion
Second
last
ball.
year. James
Look
with
at
the break.
this. Watch this 8-ball. Nope.
Currently waiting on the Black Widow, Janette Lee. She'll be jumping in here in a few minutes, Alvin.
Yes.
Always takes her a few minutes once she comes through the door. A lot of folks want to stop her and maybe get a picture and an autograph. So I'm sure she'll be joining us here any minute. Again, if you're just tuning in, semi-final round coverage
Boom.
of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. It's been a fantastic event.
Oh, man, it's been awesome. Best
Hard
ever.
to believe we're down to the last 2 matches.
Best ever. Highest level of play, most fun, most organized, especially by your crew.
You're seeing James Adams at the table. James from right here in the Tampa area, Spring Hill to be specific.
Spring Hill, Florida.
James took 5th place here at the U.S. Amateur Championship last year, 17th in 2014.
He's trying to
James
hit
the
in this.
Gentleman
I like
Adams. Did you know James's nickname is
the Gentleman? Yes.
There you go.
And he sure is, too. See, he broke that ball out there. That was good. I like how he did that.
Some folks here asking about the time for the finals. The finals will immediately follow the semifinal round. So
He's going to clear the he's got to play the 15 ball after this ball because there's only one lane for it. But the 10 ball is a problem, see. He's going to have to see, and the 10 ball doesn't clear to the bottom right. So, anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Jason.
no, that's all right. It'd be interesting to see how James performs here in this match. That was got to be a tough loss to absorb there to Daniel Hill match.
Boy, I don't know if he's going to go forward or backwards. Looks like he's hitting below center. Yeah, somebody's phone went off.
There's the Black Widow, Janette.
All right, we'll get Janette in here. Get me out. We'll let Jason take over here. You're the king of the ship, Jay, you and Janette.
All right, Alvin, we appreciate everything
Appreciate
Alvin
you.
Nelson and Inside Pool have done for us this week, helping to bring you guys all the action round after round after round. It's not an easy job, folks, I tell you what. So appreciative of Alvin's hard work. You want these out of the way? Yep. Hello, Miss Lee.
Well, hello there.
Folks, you're being joined by Billiard Royalty here, the Black Widow Hall of Famer.
And the best marketing guy on the
There
planet,
we
Jason
go.
Bowman.
Oh, I like
APA.
that. I like that. Always good to have an endorsement. The Black Widow. Janette, welcome back.
Thank you.
I know you were here for the ladies' semifinals and finals the other day, but outstanding semifinal round we have here. Brian Parks, former champion in red, and James Adams from right here in Spring Hill, Florida, at the table in the black.
Yeah.
Of course, James just dropped his first match of the tournament in the last round. But we'll look to avenge that loss if he can get past Brian Parks here. Janette, they're saying Black Widow in the house. Yes, she is. Of course, Janette, you're right here. You're a local girl now.
Yeah, He actually drew that a little bit too much, and he could pop it in the side, but it's going to be tough to get on this 13 ball. I feel like he needs to punch it, and then, well, he could have hit that with a little bit more speed, but oh my gosh, that 8 ball, I didn't even see it, so he's playing shape on the bank. All right, all or nothing, babe. Ooh, golly.
Janette James is a local guy. Is he somebody you've run into yet out there? I know he plays APA up in Spring Hill.
No, I haven't seen him before. But if he's right here, he must be a solid
player. Well, I know you're kind of
player.
getting acclimated to the Tampa area still, so.
Right. And I stay so busy right here in Tampa, I mean, you know, in the Hillsborough County,
Right.
that it's hard for me to get out too much.
This is Brian Parks at the table here.
You always know you're playing someone well if they're playing right away to get to the issues with this 2-7. So he wanted to probably wanted to get a little bit higher up so the 7 ball was easier.
I have to check, but I think Brian's only loss in the event was to James. Is that right?
Uh-oh, look at,
2 rounds ago, James beat Brian. Okay.
wow, 5 solids on the table and he managed to hook himself. I'm not sure why he hit that so softly. He knew he was going to hit that too. Right now, he's just got to hope that he can make that 4 ball.
A lot of folks just now tuning in. Again, you're watching live semifinal coverage of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship here at Strokers Palm Harbor. This event, of course, produced by the American Pool Players Association, the APA. This event began on Wednesday with the ladies, the women's division.
You know, I really like this shot. If his cue ball, he's got several, well, hitting it that soft, I don't know, but. Well, he hit the ball, but nothing actually made it to a rail, giving it his opponent ball in hand. He had several with a little bit, he's frustrated, he doesn't even want, you know, sometimes people that do that where they just kind of rake the balls, when either one, he's so frustrated he doesn't even want to watch his opponent do
So
it.
did he concede that first rack? Is that what happened?
Yes.
Because I didn't, okay.
He had ball in hand with the stripe, and then the 8 ball was sitting in the hole.
So,
But a lot of times, there's a couple reasons why people might do that. They're going to do that. One, they're so frustrated, they're not going to sit there and watch their opponent run
Right.
the rest of an easy rack out. But two, he doesn't want this guy to actually get moving and going.
right, pocketing balls.
He never
okay,
gets, you know what
okay.
I mean, to get
So there's
into
some
the swing
strategy
thing.
there. It may not just be
A little bit.
frustration. Probably a little bit of both.
Hi, my name is James Adams. I'm from Brooksville, Florida, born and raised in Spring Hill. Look at you. Born and raised in Spring Hill.
Cool. What do you play out of?
I play out of Capone's Billiards. It's owned and operated by Rocky McElroy, and he's a big help. He helps me get to all the tournaments across the country pretty much.
That's where you live at?
Yep, I live 30 minutes down the road from him.
So you play out of there quite a bit?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, we have a tap league there, and I also play APA there, and you know we hold a lot of tournaments there as well. I've been playing since I was 17, so about 9 years. In the beginning, it was hard. I had to spend a lot of time practicing. I mean, when I went to college, probably 19 is where I started playing 10, 12 hours a day because, you know, when you're going to college, you don't have a whole lot of things to do. And I practiced about 10 hours a day for a year straight, 2 years straight, and that helped things. And after that, I got to travel around a little bit playing. You can never learn it. You can just play it, and then no matter how many times you think you've got it, it finds a way to humiliate you again, and it's a beautiful game. There's not another game like this.
When you're in tournaments like this and you're playing really well, and all of a sudden you make a bad shot, just way off.
Yep.
How does that affect your game?
It does, but you know you have to try to find your own way of evading that. You know, you don't want to snowball, so when you hit a bad shot, you gotta find your own way of forgetting it, you know, have a short-term memory in this game.
Yeah, and we've heard that from so many players, exactly the same thing. Well, opposite of that, when you're playing and you got a really tough shot, you got out of shape somehow, and all of a sudden you made that shot and you're right back where you were. How does that go in the game?
I don't know, it's what you expect to do. So, you know, there's certain times where you come with a real big shot and you know, you get pumped up and you feel it, but most of the time you just carry about your business because that's what you intend to do.
so you kind of put that behind you also, just like.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of, you want to stay in the middle. You know, you don't want to get too low and you don't want to get too high. And you know, the bad shots can make you feel low. The good shots make you feel high. And you know, you just got to balance it and stay right in the middle. Pay attention to what you're doing and not what you're, you know, I mean, what you're trying to do, not what you're doing.
How has pool affected your life, and do your family and friends support you?
Yeah, in the beginning, my friends made fun of me, and they got tired of the long hours going to the pool room. But got a wonderful wife, my wife Jen, and she means the world to me. But she pushes me every day to go out and practice, and goes with me to all the tournaments. And she's a major factor in my life, and everybody in my life supports me. Everyone back home at Capone's, and I got a real big support group. A lot of people believe in me, and it's real nice.
Anybody you want to say hi to, or sponsors?
Yeah, please. I want to say hi to Eric Kwan, Molinari. I want to say hi to Kyle and Janie and Jessica, Mike, everybody at Predator Group. Thanks a lot, guys. And of course, Rocky McElroy over at Capone's. Couldn't do it without y'all. My wife Jen and everybody back home. There's hundreds of you. I couldn't say it all, you know, but your support really does matter a lot.
Anything else you want to say, or final thoughts or advice for everybody?
Practice hard. Play hard, and come have fun. Enjoy yourself.
Excellent.
Again, this is James Adams now with the break. James had a very strong run thus far in the tournament. Just a one-game difference between playing here in the semifinals and him having been in the final round.
I'm wondering if balls are being pocketed easily, because he didn't even try to hit that ball hardly. He just did kind of a nice punch stroke stop shot. Solid hit, but not nearly hard enough to expect the ball's going to get into the pocket, unless he knows that that's still making 2 or 3 balls. He's going to, if he wants to win this match, he's going to have to hit those break shots a little bit with a little more authority. So he's choosing solids. The one thing he should try to get to fairly quickly is that 2 ball, which is right between the 11 and 13 ball. All these other balls he can get, the 4, the 5, the 1, the 3 even. And this isn't a bad shot, because the 3 is taking care of one problem. If he can go 3 rails, cut the 3 in the side and go to the long rail, back towards him on that end rail and back to the side rail to still make the 4 or 5.
Jeanette, looks like we have a fan that was waiting all day to meet you, but had to leave to grab something to eat and missed you. So Nikki Polite, we're sorry you missed her.
Nikki,
Come
I'm
back,
sorry,
come back.
Nikki.
She's here now.
I'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
We've got the semifinals and the finals going on.
Or come see you
So
in
I figure
Vegas
a
when you're at the
couple hours.
APA events, or even here
That's
in Tampa,
right.
right? You're
Right, I live.
probably out at all the pool rooms,
Yeah,
right?
I live in Tampa Bay, and so I bought the APA pool leagues in the Hillsborough County area, so it's been keeping me pretty busy along with my children. The one thing strategically you don't want to do is you don't want to just start sending all of your balls in the pocket while that 2 ball is sitting there. And if you see the 2 ball, even if he got down for the 7 and got a shot on the 2 ball from there, it doesn't clear to the corner pocket. He's trying to get to that 2 ball, but I would have waited for that because of where the 2 is. I would have tried to move the 5 ball out of the way, then got to the 7 ball so that I can shoot the 2 up in that same corner pocket.
Question here from Keith. Keith, this is the only semifinal match ongoing. There are 3 competitors left in this year's event. The winner of this match will move on to the final. The loser will finish in 3rd place. So just one semifinal match underway. And also for the folks asking about their players' handicaps, this is a non-handicapped event. Of course, U.S. Amateur Championship features some of the absolute best amateur players in the North America. Both these players very high skill leveled. I'm guessing they're 7 and 9 respectively in APA, but again, this particular match is not handicapped. So.
Well, you know, I'm thinking the 2 ball, he's almost straight in on the 2 ball. If he stops the 2, shoots the 2 and stops around there, he can shoot the 5 in the corner, the 1 in the side, follow up a little bit, make the 3 ball, and then he's going to have to come around 3 rails to be able to make the 8 ball on the side. And I'm thinking he's got, if that 2 ball goes, he's going to have to take care of it, because he doesn't have a lot of his balls surrounding there where it's going to be easy to get a similar shot. The 3 ball does look like it goes in the far side pocket from him. Come on, that 2 ball goes. Come on. He's thinking to elevate and pop that 2 ball over the 11. It's just by a hair. But yeah, that's what he's doing. He's going to pop it, make the 2 ball jump a little bit, but then he's got to make sure not to draw behind that 13 ball. Just really try to pop it and stop the cue ball, make sure he doesn't hit with any topspin. He's just not feeling really confident.
And again, at this level of play, folks, one mistake in any given rack could be the last time you shoot. So again, Brian not wanting to concede anything here if he doesn't have to. Trying to find.
Okay, there you can see it good. Yeah, that does require, man, I could have swore that it had more room. Very makeable. He's only going to have to jump it over 11 ball a little bit, but it's just whether or not he can stop the ball. Oh my gosh.
So I'm assuming he did what he wanted there, except for the fact that he just had too much on the cue ball. And
well, it bounced off the side of the 11. He knew that it was going to have to hit that a little bit, but because he had draw when it hit the 11 ball, it pulled it back into that corner pocket.
Yeah.
And so he had to make sure that when he popped it, he was hitting above center, so that when it hit the 11 ball, it could follow through it to the end rail and back out.
So Brian will give ball in hand to James here after pocketing the 2 ball, but scratching. Again, some questions about who's in the other semifinal match. Again, folks, we are down to just the last 3 players. 2 players here in this semifinal. The winner moving on to face Daniel Gamble in the final. The loser will finish in 3rd place. So there is not a second match ongoing at this time. So, well, we were up to about 1,000 more than that a few minutes ago. Alvin Nelson from Inside Pool noting that there are about 1,600 of you folks tuning in, which we certainly appreciate.
Hello, hello. Thank you guys for tuning in.
If you enjoy what you're watching, all we would ask is share it with others, right?
That's
right. If you
right.
love it, share it. Let's see how many eyeballs we can get on our broadcast of the semifinals of the U.S. Amateur Championship.
All right, so right now you can see he has an easy shot on the 15 and the 10, but if he can make that 13 ball, it'll allow him to loosen that 8 ball away from the 1, 5, and 3. He wants to make sure he doesn't hit it hard enough for the 3 to get anywhere near that 10 ball, and I think it just will require a tap.
Our buddy Lee Brett says hello, Janette.
Hello, Lee.
Final is right after this, Keith Ortiz. Final will take place immediately following this semifinal match. So still a lot of great pool to be played.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know Lee Brett, he is a very solid player, but he's also known as a great instructor.
Yeah.
And so he's been given a lot of support to the APA, the last year, you think?
Yeah,
or
he was
something
actually
like
just in St. Louis last month. We recorded a whole new series of instructional videos.
Right.
We'll be releasing them free, of course, on our YouTube channel. So, check those out. YouTube.com/APA Leagues. Of course, you can get there right from our website, poolplayers.com.
He has this is a little bit tricky because he has a little bit of an angle on the 9, but even if he holds it, the path to that 10 ball, you know what I mean, can get a little tricky because you're either going down to the end rail, unless you want to draw it. But
again, for those of you folks just tuning in, no skill levels used here at the U.S. Amateur Championship. These are some of the top tier amateurs in North America. Even if they have skill levels in APA League play, no skill levels
that
used
was a great shot right there.
Here.
Now I believe he's going to try to go one rail. He's going to hit the end rail and then roll up between the 5 and the side pocket closest to him. He's a little straighter than comfortable, but I think he's more than capable of doing it. Make sure he doesn't get too straight in. Cue ball's on the rail, so it looks like he isn't too straight in. So he can go to the end rail, back to the side and out. Oh, golly, he really was straight in. Calling it in the 8 ball in the corner pocket for the win. He's just got to watch this cue ball. because he knows he's likely going to run into the 3, 5, or 1. Well, the 3 or the 5.
He does pocket
Oh.
8-ball.
Nice.
2-0 lead now for James Adams. He's really rebounded nicely from that first or that last match. Again, you never know a player's psyche might be like.
Yeah.
It's actually 2-0, Alvin, for James. So that's us, or was us. Hi. There's Alvin there doing all the work while Janette and I sit back
That's
and enjoy
right.
the pool match. Currently 2-0 James. Again, we appreciate all you folks tuning in.
It's like they're having a little bit of a conversation going on.
Got kind of an interesting question here about our national singles program and some of the tiers. A player asking why 6s and 9s are grouped into one tier, because obviously it's, 9s are sometimes very good. The reason for that is just sheer volume and numbers. The way the numbers work out, there's not enough participation in the lower end of that higher tier to justify splitting it in half. So
Right. So imagine if you've got 2s and 3s, that's one grouping, 4s and 5s, another grouping. But the majority of our players are 2s, 3s,
lower
4s, and
skilled
5s.
players, yeah.
So then you take the quantity for each of those tiers to have its own tournament.
Right.
There's just actually not enough
Yeah.
6s and 7s to be grouped together, and then 8s and 9s. So they've got
Currently,
it
yeah.
combined all at once.
And I think at some point you'll probably see that again. We've added tiers to that singles championship, now called the pool player championships, over the years, but they've been added in the middle levels. Skill level 4 now has its own tier. Skill level 5 now has its own tier. So just takes time and getting enough 6s and 7s involved in the program. So be patient. We'll get there eventually.
Now, if you saw what he did, he actually chose to shoot that middle ball and let the cue ball carry him into the other balls, but he knew that surely he knew that the cue ball was going to carry him into the end rail and back up, but he didn't hit it with enough authority to, what he's trying to do is loosen up that 9 ball, which is right next to the 2, by the bottom right-hand corner pocket, and the 10 ball, which is wedged right between 2 solids and a 8 ball.
Question about how many states APA is in. I believe we're in 48 states now. That would include Alaska and Hawaii. So I think North Dakota is one that maybe we're not in, and Utah. So
You know what? He did loosen them a bit. The problem is that the 15 is still tied up by that purple 4 ball. He's got a shot on the 10, but he's got to watch it. If he has the angle I think he is, the cue ball can carry him. If he puts any draw on this, it can carry him into the side pocket. And he can't really hit it high or soft, because then it goes in the far corner pocket.
again, this is Brian Parks from Bakersfield, California at the table. Brian in the red shirt, currently trailing 2 games to none.
He's looking to try to make sure, because he knows if he draws that ball, he's got to be really careful to get that cue ball to hit past that side pocket. Looks like he's going to hit it with some draw. That's very risky. And also, he's going to end up, ooh, great shot. Uh-oh. Well, he can hit the 15, but I'm not thinking that that's something that he can. Ooh, a little bit harder would have been nice for him, because he still left him the 6 ball.
Mark Oki says, Brian Parks, no introduction needed. Okay, so, of course, Brian, a 3-time U.S. Amateur champion. James Adams here, though, playing strong. Could be his year. He's got to get by Brian, and then he's going to have to avenge that last round loss to Daniel Gamble, who is also playing extremely well. Dana Patton says, hi, Jason. Hi, Janette.
Hello,
How you doing,
hello,
Dana,
Dana.
back in Metro East area, across the river from St. Louis, runs our APA leagues there.
See, little by little, he's picking off this one, but he knows. See, he could play for that 4 ball, but I'd actually rather just cut the 2 ball, let the cue ball carry him into the side rail, and back to the other side rail. Try to maybe get down by this 11 and 9. Move those balls a bit. That was actually a great shot. Now, if he has a little bit of an angle, it'd be nice for his cue ball to carry him into the 9, still give him a shot on the 7, because then that would, ooh, oh, he's got a shot. That 7 ball, and he did move that 9 enough where the 5 ball now goes in that corner pocket. Oh, I don't like this. Because now he's leaving alone the 7 ball, which was also a problem. And with that 3 ball right there. Man. See, he's leaving that 3 ball.
Of course, this event taking place at Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida, just across the bay from Tampa. A lot of folks asking where we are. We've been here for the last several days. Had 2 days of the Women's Championship. This is the 3rd and final day of the U.S. Amateur Championship, which most people don't realize, but is open to both men and women. A lot of folks say men's U.S. Amateur Championship. It's actually an open event, but most of the ladies prefer to play in the women's division, so, but not excluded from this particular event either.
See, it looks like he thinks the 7 ball can be cut, and he wants to get the cue ball to hit the 3-8. But from what it looks like to me, he's going to end up touching that 14 ball. So now he's looking at playing safe. Yeah, the key question is, does that 3 ball, that 7 ball go anywhere? So at this point, strategically, he knows that 9 ball, the 8 ball needs to go somewhere. So I'm almost wondering, if I was, if I was to hit that 14 ball and just let the cue ball just coast softly to where his hand is right now, it's going to force his opponent, because he can't see the 7, it'll force his opponent to loosen up that 3 without giving him a good shot. Offense is not the move in this situation. You've got to force him to open up the 8 ball so that you can run it out later. Good. That's the right shot right there. There's never a point to sending your men home while someone's in a trap, and that 8 ball's trapped up. So you've got to think creatively. The reason why he didn't get rid of a couple of balls and then did that one, it takes away kicking rails where he might have gone towards a rail, but his stripes are in the way. But it also forces him to move the 3 ball, which is the only ball that's really in the way of, is it James?
Yeah, James Adams in the black.
Out, yeah.
James, the local guy from
so
Spring
I'm sorry.
Hill, Florida.
No, I was saying Brian is forcing James to open up that 3 ball. And so James might hit the long rail, the bottom short rail, and hit the 7 and touch it, because he knows that if he loosens up that 3 ball, Brian should be able to run out. Especially if that 9 ball goes. Because Brian will take the red stripe and the green stripe.
A lot of questions from folks on how to participate for next year. And the answer to that would be to go to our website, poolplayers.com, go to the U.S. Amateur Championship info. Give us your name, your email address. We'll add you to our mailing list. The entry window opens on April 1st. Preliminary rounds are held in September, and the top players in those preliminary rounds advance here to the championship round. So make it easy on yourself. Go to our website, put in your name and email address, and we'll make sure you get the information when it's ready to go. So
Interesting. He took a foul, and what he did was he decided well, that's okay right there.
Sean says, I couldn't hang. I'm still a beginner. That's all right. We got a place for you, too. Maybe not here at the U.S. Amateur Championship, but got our spring leagues getting ready to start here in the next couple months. I'd encourage you to get on a team. That's how you'll get a little bit better, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be here.
All right, he's looking at a jump shot. It looks like I don't know that he can cut the ball. He might be looking to jump over, make the 3-ball, carry him off the 8 in the corner pocket. It's hard for me to tell. See what that looks like. All right, he's just choosing to play safe.
Gonna put the
He
pressure
told
on
James
Brian
that,
here.
yep. Brian told James that he's on 2 fouls.
Yeah, and I believe that there is no 3-foul rule in effect.
Oh, so
for
he,
this match,
he
so
must have just been joking.
jokingly, yeah.
Made a nice break out there. At this point, it should be. He's got a little bit more angle. I don't know if he's going to try to draw that ball or just kill the cue ball onto the rail and take it. Nope. He's got to get it moving. He's just got to hope he doesn't end up right. Oh, man. I was going to say right on top of that 3-ball. So not only is Brian stretching, but he's got to jack up, which means, see how the cue ball has to go higher and higher. I mean, the cue stick, the back of his cue has to be elevated so he can get a proper hit. He's just got to watch this scratch in this ball, this corner pocket if he, super great.
Great shot by Brian there.
Yes.
Again, a seasoned veteran, former champion. Well, we got a few minutes, Janette. Let's, I know a lot of folks tuning in wanting to know what's up with the Black Widow, so
Ask away.
what's going on with you these days?
I am still getting adjusted to being a lead
Life in
operator,
Tampa?
and yeah, but it's great because for so many years I was mostly doing, I still do a lot of corporate appearances, but this is where I'm constantly surrounded by APA players
Right.
who love pool, and I feel like I can help them.
Sure.
You know, just playing with them and giving them a few tips, and they eat it up, and my kids love it here in Tampa. We moved here about a year and 2 or 3 months ago.
I had a few folks asking about your children's names. What is Savannah?
Right, so our oldest
Chloe.
is Morgan, then Olivia, then John, then Cheyenne, Chloe, and Savannah. So 5 girls and a boy,
Look at you.
and they keep me pretty busy. Morgan, our oldest, has 2 children, a girl and a boy, my grandson and my granddaughters.
Nice.
Cute as pie.
Howard Frankenfield keeps talking about these frozen Charleston chews. Is that
Oh
something
my
that's- okay.
gosh.
I didn't know. That seemed like a weird thing, but apparently you know what he's talking about.
Yes, Howard. Well, I see him at tournaments, and he
Brings
he
you
will
frozen Charleston chews.
because I love Charleston chews, but mainly only if they're frozen.
Nice.
I don't know how he keeps it ice cold, but somehow by the time he gives it to me, they're frozen. I just
Nice.
love it.
Nice.
I love it because they're a little bit crunchy, and then they kind of melt in your mouth. And see, now my mouth is watering. Come on, Howard.
Thanks a lot, Howard. Of course, you're watching live coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship from Strokers Palm Harbor. Brian Parks at the table here, trailing James Adams 2-1. They are in the 4th game of 8-ball. They'll play one more game of 8-ball after this and then switch to the 9-ball set.
So right now he's got to be thinking about getting shape on this. He overcut it just a little bit. Boy, James just rushed up to that table. 7-ball goes right in the side, maybe taking the opportunity to let the cue ball drift into the 6-ball to open that up. There we go. He can shoot the 3 in the side, but I don't know if he wants to move that 5 ball any closer to that 14 ball. I think he'd like to see where else he can pocket the 3 ball. So just now he walked around to see if, can I make the 5 ball in the same pocket as he's looking at making the 4. If he has a little bit of an angle on the 3, the cue ball could move the 5 enough to where it doesn't go in either corner pocket because the 8 ball would be in the way. Oh, he's shooting the 2 ball instead.
Some folks asking about the prizes for this particular event. This is actually not a cash prize event, unlike most of our championships. Of course, we pay out to the tune of about $2 million a year, but in this particular event, for the most part, these players are playing for pride. Of course, they're playing for a chance to move on to a pro event next year. We get their entry fee and travel and all that good stuff taken care of, and of course, they take home the coveted U.S. Amateur Championship trophy, the Larry Hubbard Trophy, and their name is forever added to the traveling trophy. So I think in a lot of cases, most of these players will tell you what they're playing for is kind of cementing their billiard legacy, making sure that long after they're gone, the game of pool will remember them as forever as a champion. So again, James Adams at the table. James from right here in Spring Hill.
Man, that was kind of some risky business. He's got a nice shot on this 4 ball. It's somewhat thin cut. If he hits it hard, he might hit that 6 ball. But if you can manage to hit it nice and easy, go 1 rail, miss the 6 ball, come out, he'll have a nice combination on the 3-5. Takes just a feathery. And he ended there because, as you could see, he hit it on the full side of the pocket. He could have cut that thinner and still made it, which made his cue ball drift into that 6. Actually, if he can come with this 6 ball, he's going to have a nice shot in the 3 and 5 back in this corner pocket where he's standing.
Big one. Oh, I'm going to see if Alvin can talk to security here and finagle him and letting us bring the Larry Hubbard Trophy back here, and we'll show him on the middle of the rack what we're talking about when we talk about cementing their billiard legacy. Kind of like the Stanley Cup of amateur pool, if you will. It's heavy, I know. All right. Oh. I'm going to set this here until we're ready to, all 80 pounds of this bad boy. You can actually share it right from our Facebook page. We are streaming live through Facebook. Again, we appreciate all you folks who are tuning in. James Adams, slowly but surely, making quick work of this particular rack. Can I get you to hold that real quick? I just don't want it falling over. All right, so James is going to take a 3-1 lead. And real quickly here, hand me that bad boy, Alvin. So when you talk about what you win, this 80-pound piece of marble art, one of the things you win is your name here, forever etched on it. I'll give you a little. Yeah, I don't know how well you can see the names, but every champion who's ever won this particular event is
look at this.
Added to this trophy. And again, you can see we're making our way around the trophy. Last year's winner, Henry Bro.
Wow.
So yeah, when we say billiard legacy, again, your name forever added to that trophy, and then of course we give you your own version to take home. So
that is one title I have not won.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I don't know that's a title you're going to be eligible for anymore.
Darn it.
But for the rest of you back home that are interested, again, go to our website, poolplayers.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll add you to the mailing list if you think trying to qualify for this event is something you're interested in. Somebody here says that trophy weighs more than Tom Kennedy. And that might be close.
Yes.
I haven't seen Tommy in a number of years, but yeah, the ball juggling. All right, folks, again, watching live coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship. James Adams at the table here.
Posting everything.
Janette here is kind enough to share our stream through her Facebook page. We would encourage you guys, if you enjoy what you're watching, do us a favor and share it as well.
I've been saying bridge too, haven't I?
Let the whole world tune in to Strokers Palm Harbor. James with the bridge here, or as Alvin likes to call it, the rake. This particular comment says, all the money APA makes, they could at least buy them a beer or two. We actually do better than that for those that qualify here, Janette.
Buy 'em a
We take care
case?
of their rooming. Yeah, we put them up
Well,
at
that's
the
true.
DoubleTree, the suites in the DoubleTree.
Wow.
Every player who qualifies, so they get put up
That's
for
awesome.
the entirety of the tournament. Have you been to the DoubleTree over on Rocky Point? I know you've been to the other where they hold the pool tournament in April, but this particular one is gorgeous. Every room's a suite, right there on the bay overlooking the water. Great hotel.
No, I haven't been there. I've
So-
been to the one closer to the airport,
Sure, yeah. I know
which
they do
I'm
that
very
event there in
familiar with
April,
that
right.
airport. But
Again, these players are in their final game of the 8-ball set.
watch out, man. Okay, so right now it's a little bit tricky. You can see that he can make the 12 ball right there. He doesn't really want to carry. If he cuts the 13 in, he risks the cue ball carrying in and possibly tying up. Oh. Okay, so here's a thought. If he can bring that cue ball over, make the 13, then he can draw into the bottom right corner pocket, draw into that corner, not in the pocket obviously, but just like that. He'll draw it around and cut the 8-ball back in this opposite corner pocket.
Question here on who's leading. James Adams is the one leading 3-1. James in the black shirt, Brian Parks seated in the red shirt. His score is in red back there. So again, James Adams leading 3-1.
That was a fantastic job. He can actually turn this ball a lot and give it a bunch of right-hand English at the end rail and come out between the 5 and 7. That's what it looks like. He overcut it. He hit that point.
All right, so he's going to leave the door open here for Brian.
You know, and it looks like, you know, in this game, you would think that James really has the advantage here, but I'm sorry, I keep getting it messed up. Brian is in the black.
Yeah, Brian
right?
in red, Brian Parks.
Yeah, but actually James has the advantage because with Brian only having one. Ooh. He's trying to
Question.
get to that 7 ball as soon as he can.
Another question here about skill levels again here at the U.S. Amateur Championship. No skill levels used, so although both of these players are
Watch out.
skill level 7 and 9 respectively in their APA leagues, there is no handicapping used here in this particular event. So
Looks like that 1 ball definitely clears. He's going to go into that side rail, but it'd be nice if he had a little bit of an angle on that 6 ball, and he does. He got it done. So now what? He wants to make, I think he's going to be playing for this 7 ball, and he's got to make sure he ends up with some kind of an angle so the cue ball can float over there for the 3 and the 4 up in the corner pocket. Although if he thinks he can just draw it all the way down for the 3 and the 4, he knows he's got to get to those balls.
some folks saying Brian here at the table looks familiar, and I don't doubt that. He is a 3-time winner of this event, 3-time U.S. Amateur champion.
That was great speed control. So he wants to get that cue ball over to the side rail and back out just a little bit. Just a little bit. He'll be taking this 3 ball if it clears. It looks like it does.
Brian is one of 3 competitors left standing in this year's 128-man bracket. Winner of this match will advance to the final. The loser will finish in 3rd place.
Ooh. Man.
He likes taking chances,
Yeah,
doesn't
he hit that a little bit full.
You don't get to be a 3-time USAM champion without being able to pull out some of the stops. Follows it right up, leaves himself on the 8-ball. And he pockets the 8-ball in the corner. Now trailing by just 1 game. And James Adams in black leading Brian Parks 3 games to 2 now, as they switch from the 8-ball set to the 9-ball set, and they'll play up to 8 games of 9-ball.
I like his stroke.
Yeah, I think that was
Smooth.
a big win there for Brian. I think
Yeah.
you know, although he's got the
They're
capacity
earning
to come back,
Mhm.
you know, you don't want to, and especially in this event, you don't want to let it get too far out of hand, because it just is very, very difficult, the level that these guys play,
Yeah,
to be
so
able to you know, win 3, 4, 5 games in a row.
that's right, exactly. The higher level you play, the greater the price when you miss a shot,
Right.
because you know you may not actually get to shoot again for a few
Right.
games.
So the players are going to take a quick break. They're going to hit the bathroom. While they do that, we'll talk to you guys.
Talk to us.
What would you like to ask the Black Widow? If you could ask her anything, here she is. Ask away. Keep it PG, please. A lot of international viewers, Janette, because I'm not
Really?
understanding what a lot of them are saying. But yeah, a lot of folks
Oh, I
around the
see
globe
that.
tuning in.
Yeah, they're not all.
So we are in a little bit of a delay, so I'm sure some questions will roll in here momentarily. In the meantime, why don't you tell us about life in Tampa in terms of running the league? I know that's
So it's a fairly large county. Hillsborough is the
Right.
4th largest county
got
in
like
all of Florida.
120, 130 teams that play.
No,
here?
we have 111
Okay,
teams is the
Cool.
last count that we have.
nice.
And then we have 8-ball teams, 9-ball, Double Jeopardy. For
Nice.
those of you that do not know, membership is only $25 a year.
Right, right.
And so doesn't cost much to join. You get to be with a group of people. We put you on a team, or you can build your own team,
Right.
and you would play against other teams. And so it's a really nice social atmosphere.
Right.
And pool APA, among other pool leagues, I think is really the best. Not only because it's just a very friendly, fun environment. It's not as they're not thinking solely on becoming the best as
Right,
much
right,
as
right.
really. And we have that.
Right.
It allows for a lot of competition
Sure.
and a lot of great prize money and events and different things that we do.
Right.
But it really is an opportunity to just get to know other people
Sure.
and have that camaraderie that I don't really see, as well as the number of events that we have, in some doubles and ladies and juniors and masters, and so
Never stops.
yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
Some-
I've gotten to meet a lot of people.
Some questions here for you. What's your favorite thing about shooting pool?
I think the challenge of it, it's still very challenging for me, because, somebody asked me recently, and this is, I think, a really strong point. I had someone that was a 5, a skill level 5, and he felt like he was frustrated because even though he was a 5, he sees the 6s and he doesn't see anything they do that he can't do. And he said, I don't feel challenged by them. He's a 6, and I know his stats say that he's a 6 and I'm a 5, but I don't see it. And what I was telling him is the difference between a 5 and 6 is not that a 6 can make more incredible shots than the 5. It's the unforced errors. They make less unforced errors. They have a better control of their composure at the table, some strategy, not going on tilt. When you make a mistake, they're able to move on a little bit better than the lower skill level players. And
Right.
that's something to think about, because I think a lot of people don't always give the respect for people that are a little bit better, because they're not seeing the difference in terms of what they do. But instead of that, think about how many shots that you should have made and you didn't because you took your eye off the ball or you were thinking about something.
Right.
The next level up, they just make less of those simple, stupid shots that you're just like, oh my God. They still do it. I still do it. Efren still does it, but it's less. And that's an important thing to think about.
I know you probably get this question a lot, but we'll do it in 2 parts. One is, how long have you been playing pool? And the other question, where did you get your nickname? And I know you get asked that one quite a bit, but
I'm not going to say how long I've been playing pool, but I can say
Long enough?
Yeah, a long time, a long time. So, but I will say, what was the other question?
Your nickname, the Black Widow. Where does
Oh,
that
you know
originate
what?
from?
So I started playing pool in New York City, and I just absolutely loved it. And when I started playing pool a lot and things like that, I wore a lot of black, which I think is very much a New York thing. But I guess I have pointy eyebrows. So when I'm really focused, and my chin goes down, but I'm still looking up, it makes my eyebrows looks very pointy, I guess. So there's this look, even though if you were to follow me on camera, it doesn't actually, my eyes don't grimace more, I'm not angry, I'm just focusing really, really hard. Wore a lot of black, and so the guys in the pool room, this guy, Gabe Vigorito, who owned Howard Beach Billiard Club, Howard Beach, New York, he used to make fun of me in a loving way that I reminded him of a black widow because I would lure my opponents to the table and eat them alive because personality-wise, he thought I was very sweet and nice and approachable, and people would come up and play with me, and then I would just wipe them out.
There you go. Right from the Black Widow's mouth, folks.
That's right.
Stump your friends with that trivia. Where did she get that nickname?
My personal favorite thing is when people ask me, what do I do, like for my job? And I say, I break balls for a living.
There you go.
That's what I do.
There you go.
In every sense of the word.
Yeah, I'm guessing that starts an even lengthier conversation.
It really is a lot of fun. Power still is a big difference between the men and the women. Not for the top few women, but for, in general, men, pound for pound, are a little bit stronger.
Right.
Obviously, there's exceptions to that rule.
And so where do you see that most applied? Like in the break? Is that where?
In the break, there's sometimes power shots where you've got a long shot and you've got to jack up and hit it nice and pure. It takes us a little bit more effort. It's kind of like golf, where even if you chip and putt the same, that opening drive really can be hard for us to overcome because we have to do everything better in order to compensate for that kind of thing.
All right, so if you're just tuning in, you're watching live coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship from here at Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida. This event produced by the American Pool Players Association. You're watching James Adams at the table here, currently leading 3-2 over Brian Parks, who is seated in red.
Watch out, 8-ball. Watch out. You better bounce.
These players are in their first game of the 9-ball set.
Man, come on.
We'll play up to 8 games of 8-ball, or
Can
I'm sorry,
you see
9-ball,
any
depending
better?
on.
No. All right, looks like he can see it.
Does the Black Widow visit CPA events in Canada ever or in the future? Well, I know we were there a few years back, right? We were in Toronto for the Black Widow Tour. I know we stopped in a few places in Canada. There in the
did.
Toronto area, remember?
That's right, absolutely. I have a friend, Maureen Cita,
Wacky
that
Wings,
was over
I think,
there.
was one of the places we went. So, great place. Nice time up there.
I've always had a great time in Canada. I've
Yeah.
been there probably 10 times, not in Toronto, but
Right.
Vancouver or Quebec or
Just got to go at the right
different
time of year,
places.
right?
Saskatchewan. Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't always. Boy, he missed the 4-ball altogether.
Well, he gets a little lucky there, didn't he?
No, he hit the
Yeah?
5 first,
Okay.
which gives
Did, yeah, so he fouls.
Brian. I mean, it gives.
Yeah, it gives Brian ball in hand on the foul there. So.
Excuse me.
All right, so Brian's going to have an excellent opportunity here. Pull even in this match.
He's got to be thinking about the 7-ball right now. He wants to make sure he doesn't end up being above the 7-ball where the cue ball is going to have to. You know, Brian looks just very comfortable with how the table plays. He's going to punch that cue ball, hopefully to the side rail and just a little bit of left-hand English.
Yeah, and I think that comfort level, a lot of that
Nice.
comes from his experience in this particular event. He's very seasoned in the U.S. Amateur Championship, meaning the rules, the format. He's very familiar with the location here. He's played a handful of times now on the streaming table, so I think he's one of those guys that expects, year after year to be in the final, and he's obviously one match now away from making that happen yet again, so we'll see. Of course, this is a race to 7. We'll have an extended race when we get to the final round. Daniel Gamble of North Carolina has already punched his ticket for that final round.
You know,
Brian Parks has evened it up at 3 games apiece.
he really looks so cool at the table, but there's little, you know, how they say in poker, there's people have tells. What Brian told me on that final 9 ball is he actually clinched his grip. If you were to replay that backward on the follow through, he didn't follow through with a nice, smooth, even swing. He kind of punched it and he gripped his cue ball, which shot the tip of his cue up in the air. And that does have a little bit to do with nerves.
We're tied
although
up 3-3 here, Alvin.
You couldn't otherwise tell it. You can see him leaning against another table. I just saw him shake his head a little bit, so there's something going on in his mind. Sometimes that helps drive a guy to really work even harder.
There we go. 3-3 is your score. And some questions about the final round.
Jade, thank you, Jade. I appreciate the compliment.
Final round will be a race to 11. 8 games of 8 ball, 13 games of 9 ball.
Sean Edwards just asked me what's the favorite event that I attend. I would probably have to say Derby City Classic, just because there's so many just hardcore pool players, and that event gives so many different kind of opportunities with bank pool and 9 ball, and there's just so many different, it's just kind of exciting for me. I love seeing people play really well, and you're bound to have that happen.
Had a question earlier from somebody about, and I don't know how much you follow this, but the Moscone Cup team.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? I know they announced like some of the players for the U.S. team. I don't know how much you follow that, but.
Well, so Mark Wilson, who is the captain or the director of the U.S.
Sure.
Moscone team, I know that he does a lot for the sport, and Mark has worked with me quite a bit on my swing and really kept me interested for a long time. I was already number 1 when I met him, but he's had a big influence on my life. I just think he's an incredible person that really loves the sport, and he invited me to go play pool against him, so I think it's a number of Hall of Famers.
At the Ballpark Village event,
That's
right?
right,
St. Louis,
that's right.
November
So
30th, so.
I've got my business. I can't stay very long, but I'm going there for the one day
Nice.
to go and play pool, and it's right there in St. Louis, not far from you guys. If I was staying longer, I would, but
Could
it's
hang
towards
out,
the
right.
beginning of when my session starts,
I
my spring
understand.
session
You're
starts.
a league operator now.
Right, so I couldn't stay real long, but I really do love everything that Mark does, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, he's a bit of a martyr because he works so hard, and I know he hasn't made a ton of money, but I think it's kind of self-imposed because so many people just give him a ton of support. He does so many great things for the sport.
Right.
So there's not really anything he can ask of me that I wouldn't do.
I think Alvin was squeezing in a photo there with you, Janette.
Where?
We're having a little fun here in the booth. All right. Again, you've got Brian Parks at the table here.
Okay, so when I look at a 9-ball rack, the first thing before I take my first shot is I'm actually looking for what's the key ball. What is the ball that you just absolutely have to get perfect on? Because it helps you develop the pattern that you want to play. I don't know if that 3-ball goes past the 7-ball. If it does, then he can roll up and shoot the 5-ball. It looks like he is. Ooh, gosh, no.
Yeah, you could hear Brian kind of gasp. I think he knew right away that he was going to miss that shot.
So this is actually a little bit tricky. If he can see a full ball, he can bank that 3-ball away and and hide the cue ball behind the 7. He let it get away from him. He cut it a little bit too much. Now Brian can cut this ball in, but I'm not sure that there's going to be a great enough reward because he would have to contend with the 7 or scratching in the corner. Maybe chipping just barely the side of the 8. It might be better to play safe, but it just depends on how he's feeling at the time. Nice. Chose to play safe. If he gets below this 9-ball, he'll be in good shape. Oh, he let him
wow.
see it. So this is a makeable shot. The 3 ball does go in the corner pocket. But he's in kind of the same situation. Not easy way to get shape on the 3 ball because it is a fairly thin hit. He might be just thinking about playing safe. That was a great shot. That really was. He may be able to see this ball. Get behind the 6. Tell you what, Brian's speed control is very impressive.
Such a tight match here. Curious who you folks at home are rooting for here. You rooting for Brian or you rooting for James? Let us hear you. Is it Brian or is it James that you're rooting for in this match?
How about you, Jason?
I got to stay impartial. Well, I'm rooting for the best quote from the whoever wins. That's what I'm rooting for, yeah. I'm rooting for good marketing content from the winner.
I really love it when I see people with heart, you know, kind of not necessarily over-aggressive, but you know that we all have our demons when we're on a journey to be the best pool player that we can be. And sometimes we fall victim to it. It gets the best of us, and so it changes our attitude because maybe I don't take a shot that I'm supposed to take. Ooh, nice. Because I'm letting my frustration in. And this is where if you make a bunch of errors, you have to be, instead of trying to get back in stroke or feeling like the guy got so lucky because after you missed the ball, he played shape and maybe accidentally gave, you know, put a safety on you or something like that, instead of thinking, you know what, redemption. Okay, I made a bad shot, but I'm going to find a way to overcome that. And I really like it when I see things like that.
Looks like the chat's about 50-50 on who they're rooting for, with the exception of Clint Plunk, who's rooting for himself next year. So there you go, Clint.
They're all saying they're rooting for the underdog. Which one is it? They're 3-3. Come on, guys, pick a side.
Who do you want to see versus Daniel Gamble in the finals? Daniel, of course, punched his ticket.
You better watch out. That's not good enough. Yeah, it wasn't a bad idea, but he actually caught it thinner than he meant to.
Looks like Mrs. Parks is rooting for Mr. Parks, so that's a good sign on the home front.
Well, watch out, 8 ball. He kind of turned his palms upward because I guess he's not able to jack up quite as comfortably because of that 8 ball. Ooh, that was a nice shot.
Again, this is Brian Parks at the table in red.
Yeah, is it just me, or does it feel like Brian's been doing all the shooting, even though the score's 3-3?
Yeah, lately. Well, obviously James jumped out to that 2-0 lead. But I think the momentum has really shifted Brian's way, at least for now. So, but again, we can see the momentum swing quite a bit in these matches. Again, with these very talented players, it doesn't take much for one of them to get on a roll and run a rack.
So Brian's got a couple of options here. It's a little thinner than he would have liked, because if it was a little straighter, he could draw around, shoot the 8 ball in the far corner pocket by where he's standing. Or, well, he's cueing low, so maybe that's what he is going to do. Come on, let's see that speed control. Look at that. That's speed control for you.
Brian with an excellent opportunity to jump out to his first lead. Ooh.
He's got to try to calm himself down a little bit.
Nice job there by Brian. Pockets the 9 in the corner. Takes a 4-3 lead over James Adams.
You know, we all get frustrated when we play pool. It doesn't matter how good you get. You can always get better. We get frustrated ourselves. And you can see he's a little bit frustrated. I get frustrated, and that's okay because that's human. But the important part is that by the time you get down on your shot, that has to be gone. So feel the frustration, do what you need to do, and then let it go so that you can be prepared to win instead of focusing on the opportunities you gave your opponent. It's that ability to recover from every mistake. 'Cause it's guaranteed we're going to make mistakes. Sometimes we're wanting perfection, but to keep frustrating yourself because you don't shoot like a robot, you're fighting. We've got enough things that we've got to fight. We don't need to be having a fight within ourselves, so we really need to try to think about that when we're playing. I'm not saying to act like a zombie. I'm just talking about make sure that however way you play, you give yourself every possibility to play your best pool. Watch the cue ball.
Gets the 2-ball on the break, but he scratches.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he crossed the one. If you're going to break from the side that Brian's on, if the cue ball's going to float backwards, it should float back towards him. That's a solid shot. Whereas if you cross over, meaning if he's on the left side and he hits it and the cue ball goes to the right, it keeps the 2 balls from going into the side. It stops the cue ball, the corner balls from going, and it stunts the 1 ball from going anywhere. And very often, it'll scratch like that because he gave it a pretty solid hit, but he did cross it. If you're going to not hit it dead straight on, you want that cue ball to float over to our left side looking at the screen versus the right side, which is where he went with his cue ball.
Gentleman James here, 26 years old, been playing pool for only 9 years. Pretty impressive how much progress he's made in just 9 years. As he pockets the 1 ball in the corner.
Yeah, he wasn't actually looking to do that. I think he was playing, hoping that his cue ball would come up and loosen that 4-5, knowing that his cue ball would still get somewhere. Cue ball's very close to the end rail. I mean, to the side rail. He's looking at shooting it, but then he's got a problem with the 4 without a good place to play safety. No, he can't do that. It was someone just suggested the 3 ball going in the far left corner pocket, letting the cue ball drop. But when you have that much of a thin cut, it's more likely to go to, tell you what, he's lucky that didn't happen, because if that was me, I'd have been coming for his throat. If that 9 ball went in,
Some questions here about the particular match. This is the semifinal round, so the winner of this match will advance to the final to meet Daniel Gamble. The loser will finish in 3rd place in this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. So one of them's moving on, one of them's going home. The only question left is who's it going to be?
So Brian's got an opportunity here. It's difficult because he can't necessarily hit the cue ball with a level cue. It's going to be slightly elevated. And when that happens, if you're not dead center and you give it a little bit of left, little bit of right, when you're elevated, it really can deflect a lot where you're not actually hitting where you mean for it to hit. But if that cue ball goes 2 rails and hits that 3 ball, cuts that 3 ball into the 8, that 9 ball's going. I mean, there's several things that can happen. I was thinking if he goes 2 rail and hits the 3 ball thin on the other side. He knows what the decision is, but what he's standing there looking at is, it's very hard for me to get down and take a shot until I can really picture in my mind, visualize how this cue ball is going to react. And if I can't picture it, I wait. I walk around the table, I rethink it, figure out what I want to do. Do I want to tie up the balls? But I would not get down that shot until I'm going to be able to hit that cue ball 2 rails and give it a nice, very confident, intentional swing.
Brian being very deliberate here, understanding that any mistake at this point, and it may be the last time he's on the table for the rack, so not wanting to make any mistakes.
I'm going to hit this with a little speed. There's several ways that that 9-ball can go in. That's it. Oh. I don't like that. I don't like somebody raking the balls like that. I think it shows poor sportsmanship. Let the guy run the table out. This is the U.S. Amateur semifinals, but
Surprising
that's
there, but
just me.
Brian's going to concede the rest of that rack to James Adams, now tied 4-4. Again, I think you're seeing some frustration there on Brian's part, and
yeah. And I don't think, by any means, I'm not saying that Brian would intentionally show poor sportsmanship.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just saying that that's what my stance on somebody raking the balls like that.
Yeah.
Some people actually consider that a type of respect, saying, I know you're good enough, you're going to run this out, so I'll go ahead and concede this game.
Yeah.
There were a lot of, I used to get made fun of in New York City because it was very common in normal practice games or gambling games when it was that easy. They would just start and get the next game started because it was that simple. But for me, it's why am I going to practice making a beautiful painting and not giving it the final stroke?
Right.
It's the ending to the perfect picture.
Yeah, and I think some folks out there kind of confused on what happened there, but it looked like there was probably the 3-9 combo there. But again, it's still a combo shot. Make him shoot it, right?
Well, I mean, but again, that's me. I'm not saying that Brian would ever intentionally. I mean, it certainly seems like a gentleman to me, and he's got, you know.
Got a bit of a celebrity here on the stream. Looks like Justin Bergman tuning in.
Nice.
Of
Hi, Justin.
Moscone team fame.
Yeah,
One
he's
of the
somebody
top
that
pros
I'm.
around the country. He's not far from St. Louis either.
Yeah, and I'm actually quite proud of him. He just seems like he's really been making an effort to.
One of the young stars of our sport, so we
yeah.
appreciate him tuning in.
He's young. He's a fantastic player, but you know, I just know that Justin has made, I think, real efforts to be that professional.
Yeah.
And show good sportsmanship and things like that. His attitude seems to be fantastic, possibly with some of the influence of someone like Mark Wilson.
Sure.
I mean, Mark Wilson is he's so incredibly like sweet. It's hard for that not to rub off on you. But yeah, certainly when I first started playing pool, conceding the game was, hey, you're a great shot. I know that you're going to run this out, so let's get the next game moving.
Yeah.
But I also, you know, I've been a professional for quite some time, and the majority of the tournaments that I've ever played in, conceding a game costs you 2 games, and possibly forfeiting the entire set. So, you know, I'm coming from that perspective, but I was just making the point about people that concede in general versus certainly not him.
Looks like maybe Justin, was he named to the Moscone Cup team today? Okay, I know that Shane had already been qualified on points, and Mike DeShane, and I believe Skylar Woodward. So it looks like, if what I'm seeing from the comments is correct, looks like Justin Bergman was named by Mark Wilson to the team. If so, what a great accomplishment for him.
Golly, Brian just got perfect on this 3-ball, because if it was too much angle, he'd be messing with that 7-8. He wants to make sure that it draws, gave it a little bit of right-hand English, and he's going to really hope he gets some kind of an angle. Looks like he did.
Justin and Rodney just added, so that would be Rodney Morris.
Tell you what, he looked like he was going to draw that, but I don't like that at all. I'd either punch it forward short of that side pocket with a little bit of English.
Sounds like Team USA is going to be well represented in London this year.
Yeah. Or you could follow it one rail to shoot the 6-ball on the side. Just depends on what kind of angle he's cueing low on this ball. Nice. He's got a little bit of an angle. I don't think he wants to punch to the side pocket. He might just kind of hold it and draw it a little bit.
Another commenter mentioned Brian, kind of like you said earlier, not wanting to give his opponent confidence on the winning shot. So I guess
somebody's
it's,
saying that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
kind of what you
that-
said when he
that's
conceded
definitely a
early
factor.
on, but
That's definitely a factor.
There
Don't
was
let
no
the guy-
shot. There was no shot either. He just raked the balls.
No
I think
3-9?
I don't think so.
Oh,
did you
no,
see it?
he
the
absolutely
chat
had a
Oh,
was
yeah.
saying
3-9.
the 3-9
Trust
was
me.
there.
I've seen them straight, even
Oh, no.
when there is
Listen,
no combo.
James would make that with his eyes closed. Anybody, well, okay, I'm not going to say anybody, but anybody in the finals, the semifinals
Right,
of the
at
U.S.
this event,
Amateur.
it's going to make
I
Oh,
just
yeah,
saw
that-
him rake him. I didn't see.
No, he actually moved the ball away from the 9, and so he had a very simple 3-9 combination. But it is, that's what this conversation really is about. Is there's a number of ways. Come on.
It gets there.
Okay,
Just
he's
took a
all
while.
right. Yeah.
You want to see the finish of the rack. I mean, you saw the whole thing. You want to see the finish
But
of
that's
it.
preference, and it also has to do with your environment, because in some cases, you just, you know that this guy's not gotten to shoot a lot these last few games. It's been mostly Brian shooting for some time now. I don't know that I'd want to give James opportunity to get going by shooting any balls. So it might be strategic. It might be a
It's a
sign
move.
of respect.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a bad move. Strategy is part of every sport. So it could be strategic, it could be a sign of respect, or it could be a sign of his own frustration. You never know.
Well, Brian makes quick work of that rack, so as quickly as James was able to even it up, Brian has once again taken a 1-game lead, now leading 5-4. Again, this is a race to 7. See Kerry McCullough, some comments here. Of course, Kerry was helping us out with some of the streaming over the weekend. One of the many players who was kind enough to step in and commentate some of the matches. We appreciate him doing that. Always nice to have the knowledge of some of the event participants when they decide to come back in the broadcast booth and join in. So we appreciate him and a number of others who have done that throughout the last several days.
Come on, pop that baby, squat that rock right in the center of the table. Boom. Oh, you see that cue ball? Squat. That means he hit that ball perfectly. It comes backwards because you're hitting one ball into 9 balls. So, of course, there's going to be some pop backwards. But at the same time, if you have no topspin, no backspin, when it pops back, it'll just sit there. And that's what he did. That was the perfect break, and he got rewarded. He's got a nice shot on this one ball.
Question here about Brian on the one-loss side. He did, in fact, lose to James. I
Oh,
believe that was earlier today, so James put him on the one-loss
Wow.
side. But again, we've seen many times from Brian an ability
Overcut
to
that
overcome.
ball.
Yeah.
boy, and he got nicely on that 3 ball.
I tell you what, you got a lot of international fans from the chat here that I'm seeing.
Who, me or
Well,
the
I'm
US
assuming they're
amateurs?
international because I just don't understand the language that they're chatting in, so I'm assuming they're international.
You can hit see
Yeah, the
translation.
translation. They just come in so fast, it's hard to keep up. Some folks asking about Brian Park's cue. It looks like Brian is playing with an Ed Cohen playing cue. I'm guessing that's some type of a custom cue. He uses an OB shaft.
Yeah. You know what? He was more than capable of getting behind that 6 ball. But the thing I noticed, and I didn't say it quickly enough, is when you have that shot, it's critical that you stand up and you picture it. And he just kind of got down, made the decision quickly, and did it. And I feel like had he just taken an extra second and pictured it visually, your cue ball is going to go a lot more where it's supposed to go because you're directing your brain. Hola, hola, mi amigo. Freddie over here, best chef.
Freddie, the chef here at Strokers,
Oh,
has
man,
been feeding us
I'm
the
telling
last
you
several
what.
days.
If you're anywhere here, come into Strokers and let Freddie do his job, because I'll tell you
The
what, he's
Freddie
the best.
shrimp.
Oh, when I come here, his shrimp and rice,
Yeah.
there's no one better.
Of course, a number of folks come by the broadcast booth to say hello. That was Freddie, the chef here at Strokers. I know we've talked a little bit about the food selection here, but it's about as good as it gets at a pool room, I think. Again, James Adams now at the table.
Look at that.
James puts the
That's
4 ball in the
great.
corner there.
you want to be careful. Look at this 6-ball. So he's either going to punch it a little bit, make sure he has a slight angle on the 5-ball. Little bit, well, it's a little bit funny. He's got a couple of options. I think if he just cuts the 5-ball in the side pocket and letting the cue ball go up table and then back over, or he can cut the ball in the corner pocket, but then he's really got to hit it pretty hard to go to the side rail, back down the end rail, and over to the side rail again. It's just a matter of preference. Both of them are pretty easy shots to pocket. The trick is getting shape on that 6-ball. He's looking at the corner, making sure the pockets aren't phony.
Well, this would be a big game for James if he can get it, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Brian only 2 games away. A win here would put him on the hill, so James trying to
He can
avoid
do
that
it.
as best as possible.
They both can do it. Wow. Champion. Okay, now, he's not straight in. I don't know if he's going to want to mess with that 5-ball, or he can punch up and let that cue ball go right between the 8 and 9 so he can hit the 6-ball. No, he's using a level cue, a little bit above center. Maybe he thinks that he can actually just bump it enough to have a nice shot on the side. I mean, he can do it. The problem with it, as you can see, is you're going to have a smaller pocket because coming from that angle, you don't have all of that side pocket. And you have to hit it with enough speed that the cue ball can go, you know, follow to the side rail and back out for that 9-ball.
A question here about if Efren Reyes is playing in this tournament. No, he is most definitely not.
Wish he
Perhaps the
was.
most accomplished player in the world ever is cannot qualify for an amateur event. So tough break there for James. Does not get the
Yeah.
bank.
Well, he got a little bit of something here because I think Bryant can't comfortably make the 8-ball in the side pocket because he's going to have to draw a little bit either way and still put some running English on it. Punch it around. Wow, that is an awesome shot. Me shot that like, that is not one of my favorite shots. See what he's doing right there, what James just did? He just did the same thing. So that makes me feel like these guys are just kind of being gentlemen to each other and
Oh,
showing
yeah.
it as respect.
Great,
You know what I
great
mean?
amount of respect between
Because
these
if
guys.
because if these guys are doing it to each other, then that's
Yeah.
really not just a guy being frustrated.
Sure, yeah.
Either
again,
way, it's saying, yeah, you know, I know you can get out
Right.
from here. Let's just.
So there,
Let's see.
James conceded the 9-ball, which was
Yeah.
a pretty straight-in shot for Brian. Again, with the level of play of these guys, they know that very rarely is a player going to miss that kind of shot. So James concedes the 9-ball. Brian now up 6-4 on the hill in the semifinal round of the U.S. Amateur Championship. Hop in here, Alvin. What do you want to tell us?
I'm just so excited to say this, but from my experience, I've seen that, like, when do you concede? Do you concede? Do you not concede? Do you give him the ball? I mean, you know, I've seen it where the guy will look up and then miss the ball because am I supposed to concede or not? It's either do it
Yeah.
every time or don't do it because it can be a move too.
Well,
No, that actually is true, but I don't think I'm thinking that's
yeah,
not
I
what
think
these
it's
guys
more
are
of a, I
trying
think
to
it's
do.
more of a respect thing, and I think that both of these guys would not want to win a game where their opponent missed a shot like that. You know, I mean,
Right,
they would
right.
feel almost embarrassed to have won that way. So perhaps that plays into it. I'm not sure, but again, no doubt a lot of respect between these two. They've met prior to this particular round earlier in the event. I'm sure they've run into each other over the years in the U.S. Amateur Championship. I know they're
Yeah.
both active in our singles program, our pool player championships. So.
Well, and on the pro level, the reason why they don't allow concessions is not because is just basically because it's confusing to the viewers that are not at the same level to
Right.
kind of go,
What's going on
yeah,
there?
what's
Sure.
going on? That's why we went to the measle ball with the cue ball, because it's easier for the viewers to really see and appreciate the amount of spin that we put on particular shots and things like that. If it was just white, you wouldn't get to see it. So
2 balls on the break there for Brian, right?
yeah, so these kinds of things tend to be for the fans.
How does this layout look for him? Are we going to see James again?
Oh.
gonna let James back to the table?
Yeah, I'm not seeing. I don't.
Certainly Brian capable of running out.
Well, he's in a really good place to run. He's going to go one rail. He wants to make sure that he comes over to the. Well, come on. I don't think he hit that quite as hard as he would have liked.
For those just tuning in, Brian Parks is the shooter in red, currently leading 6 games to 4. His opponent, James Adams, currently seated, hoping desperately to get another chance at the table.
Oh, man.
Oh, and you can see by Brian's reaction there that...
Yeah, I felt like he could just hold the ball and not even take the chance. You know, the pockets are big enough that if you hit it on the full side or the thin side, there was the risk of getting behind that 9 ball. He probably didn't want to give it inside English because if it took too much, the cue ball could have ended on that side rail. But now you can see the situation. So he's taking a minute, getting his jump cue out. So this is something to think about. There's a lot of people that are at his level that can jump the ball, but they tend to only learn how to jump and draw the ball or jump and follow the ball. It's not as common for someone to be able to do anything with the cue ball in a jump shot.
Right.
And so it's a lot of people will hit this 6 ball and the cue ball because of that angle and the amount of power it hits it. If it has any draw, he can scratch in that corner pocket. So he wants to make sure that it doesn't have a lot of draw. Just let it carry him to the left of that piece of chalk up there. Go 2 rails for the 6.
Somebody saying Air Parks coming up, and just some clarification. I know some folks used to APA are saying a jump cue. You can't use a jump cue. U.S. Amateur Championship format, you can use the jump cue. So certainly within the rules here. Brian attempting to get a shot on the 6, which he does. Does not pocket the 6.
Wow, I don't know. This is not really easy. He's jacked up because of the 7 ball. You know, he can't cue up to the cue ball with a level cue stick. He can cut the 6 ball on the side, but if he was to follow it, he might be messing with that 8 ball. I think once he's down the shot, he can see, but I wouldn't want to have to draw this ball. No, apparently he thinks that he can hit that side rail and miss the 8 altogether. Oh, he was trying to draw that ball.
So is that a miscue there?
Oh, yeah, ball in hand.
That's a big mistake there from
Well, it's
James
costing him the
Adams.
match.
And that may cost him, yeah, like you said, that may be it here. I suspect Brian, with ball in hand, certainly capable of running out. Tough break there for James.
I like how often Brian walks around and really looks exactly where he wants to. Because if it's not just right and the cue ball comes over, he doesn't want to take a chance and go anywhere near that 9 ball at all. That's the way. That is the way to shoot this shot.
Brian Parks now 3 balls away from returning to the final.
This
Where
actually
Daniel
is the
Gamble
right
waits.
shot because now he's not going anywhere near the 9 ball. He can hit with a little bit. He's aiming low. He can just follow this ball 1 rail. I think that's risky. If he feathered that 9 ball, that's just a show of confidence. That he knows exactly where that cue ball's going. You know what I mean? A little bit straight on this 8. So probably just draw it a little bit so you can shoot the 9 ball in the side pocket.
Brian now a 9 ball away, folks, from a chance at his 4th U.S. Amateur Championship title. Daniel Gamble awaits in the final round. And there you have it. The 9 ball goes. Brian Parks is moving on to the final.
Wow.
James Adams with another fine showing finishes in 3rd place in this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. We're going to give the players a couple of minutes, but Janette, as expected, an outstanding match.
Thank you. Yes, they played great. They're both solid players. It just had to do with a couple little errors. I did see a couple of miscues actually that set, right?
Right.
It could have gone either way because they're both very, very capable. But you could see that Brian's cue ball was just a little bit better there. But tons of respect for both of those
Yeah.
players, really.
So stick around, folks. We're going to have the final round coming up here. It features Daniel Gamble, North Carolina, Brian Parks, Bakersfield, California. Brian will be going for his 4th U.S. Amateur Championship title. For Gamble, it would be his first. Of course, he's a seasoned U.S. Amateur Champion veteran, finishing
only
as
gonna
high
get-
as 5th in 2009. So this is his 10th time at the U.S. Amateur Championship. So Daniel Gamble, Brian Parks.
It's going to be
Should
exciting.
be an outstanding match.
Stay with us.
We're going to bring it down. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to pull down the stream, and then we'll head back. We'll come around.